Morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching me today. My name is Peter. Welcome back to Invest with Peter. So today I'm going to be talking about the latest updates on what has happened last week and what's presently going on with cryptocurrency, this some bankruptcy fraud, crises and these celebrities, who've been pumping this fraud of a thing to us. So I'm going to be talking about them today and what's actually going on with them, what's going to be happening to them very soon. And also going to be talking about Tesla today, Elon Musk, why I think he's probably in trouble. And also about G20, when Biden met Xi, last week when they met, and the Ukraine scare, Third World War scare that Ukraine, tried to drag us all into. So I'm going to be talking about that today. And also I'll be talking about, the cryptocurrency that's going bust very soon. So, I told you in my previous video that, FTX is not going to be the first and the last one. Another one is actually happening as we are talking now, as I'm actually recording this video. Another exchange is going bust again. So let's go on. So first of all, let's talk about Tesla and Twitter. Please, if you've not subscribed to the channel, please kindly do that now as you're watching me. All right. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. So Elon Musk has always been, one guy on the internet that we always want to okay, this guy knows what he's doing. He's a genius. He's going to change the world. He's going to change, the way we see things and all that stuff, right? But dragging himself into Twitter is another thing entirely. Position for where he's taking himself to. To me, if somebody asks me, I would say Elon shouldn't be buying on Twitter at all. He dragged himself into that deal. And he got caught in the middle of it. He couldn't, say, yeah, sorry, I'm getting out without paying billions of dollars and all that. So he was dragging to it and he got stuck in it. Now, last week, he was telling Twitter workers that, well, if you want to stay, you better prepare to work longer hours. And if you don't want to work longer hours, then put your letter in and just say goodbye to your job and all that stuff. So many people, almost half of, Twitter workers actually resigned and said, well, that's it for Twitter. And as they were leaving, they were taking investors along with them. People who are investing in that company, in Twitter for advert and all that stuff, General Motors, all these big companies and all that, they took out all their adverts from Twitter. And Elon is complaining that, well, if without investors, there's going to be a problem with Twitter, and Twitter might even go Twitter might go bankrupt, right? And all that stuff. So we actually investors in Twitter, people who were invested in Twitter and in Tesla rather. We've seen a lot of, up and down, and Tesla's not actually been, it's not actually been the Tesla we knew before, right? Because if you see the stock going -5 every day, -4, -5, because one, Elon was selling Tesla just to complete his deal with Twitter, right? So he was selling a lot of Tesla stocks, and also investors were thinking Elon is not taking Tesla seriously anymore, so there's no point in investing in this company, and that's why you see Tesla stock keep dragging down. And with that, I think Elon's, attention has been dragged into two places. He's into so many things. He's now dragging himself into Twitter. Elon cannot manage Twitter. He cannot. He needs to look for somebody else to manage Twitter. In court last week, he was saying, well, he's actually waiting and looking for suitable CEO for Twitter. So with that, distraction from Twitter and all that stuff is making this guy not concentrating on Tesla and all other things he's doing, to promote the company and all that stuff. And that's why you see people losing interest in buying Tesla stock. And guess what? 179, 178 may not be the lowest Tesla will go. If we go into recession, you might probably see Twitter and Tesla at around $150, $140 per share. So if I were you, I would probably hold on Tesla now. I have loads of Tesla because it's my second biggest company in my portfolio at the moment right now, right after Microsoft. So I'm not buying any Tesla at this point. I'm going to be waiting and holding on because I don't know what is going to be happening next. Because if Twitter is not sorted out properly, the overspill is going to come back to Tesla and it's going to probably destroy the gains we've had for a couple of years and all that stuff. So that's why I think Elon is probably putting himself in a bad situation and bad condition. And well, some people say, well, they won't be surprised if Twitter actually go bankruptcy. So then that will probably discourage people investing in Tesla. And that's going to be a big alarm for us that are investing in Tesla. So that's that. So now let's talk about the FTX stuff, right? This guy, some bankruptcy fraud, right? That's why I call him. So his accomplice, right? Tom Brady. If you watch NFL for US, citizens and people abroad who watch NFL, this guy is Hall of Fame, right? NFL Hall of Famer, right? This guy invested $650 million in FTX. All his money, we don't know now. Maybe all his money is wiped out as well, or maybe he's made a deal with, Sam and all that stuff. He lost that money. And with that, he's probably losing his marriage at this point, because there's a rumor going on now that he's going through a divorce. Maybe the wife warned him not to invest in this guy's company. He eventually did, and that's probably destroying his marriage. We don't know. Nobody knows what's actually happening to that marriage, right? But his marriage too is going into crisis. That's not the only problem he's facing now. There's a court order for him, Tom Bradley, Shaquille O'Neal, and Sam to appear in court on, I think it's on December, maybe first week of December. So the court order was sent to them last week, Friday. And by December, they'll be going to court and explaining themselves how they mismanage people's funds and how they put people's trust into shambles in this fraud they brought up together and they promoted together. So that's that. And another one we should be looking at is this exchange, Genesis. Genesis has been around. That's going to be a big one, though. It's been around since 2013, and people who's been investing since 2012, 2013, 2014, they know this exchange. That it's one of the biggest and one of the forefront, exchange when people start buying crypto. Genesis has stopped people withdrawing money from their exchange. So the platform now, the people who are using the platform can take their money out, can take their investment or the deposit out of the company. And the company is actually looking for $1 billion by Monday, the 21st of November. If not, that's it. They will go up in flames. So that's another exchange going up in flame. So, I've been said, I said it last week. I said, if you have your crypto in all these crypto exchange, you might need to think twice, and you might need to take them out of them now, because if you don't go cold now, you're going to get yourself in trouble. You're going to lose all these things, and your investment is going to be wiped out at some point. So if I were you, I will be taking my stuff out from all these exchanges now, because by Monday, next one might be crypto.com. Next one might be another one. I don't want to be mentioning names, but we all know these companies. Oh, do you get what I'm saying? Like that. So they are facing the test of their life, right, at this point. And guess what? We're not even in a recession now. So guess what's going to be happening if we go into recession next year? Well, your guess is as good as mine. So I don't want to say anything. I'm just telling you now, if you are investing in crypto and you have invested in these exchanges, you need to start taking your stuff out of them. So if you are investing in companies like Momo, eToro, these other exchanges that actually trade crypto alongside stocks, bonds, and all that, you might be safe to some extent, because they are not only dealing with cryptocurrency. So if their liquidity is suffering in crypto, they're going to have stocks and bonds and all that stuff to back themselves as a backup, for them to sustain their investment in these entities and all that stuff. So those ones might be safe. But if you are investing, or if you have invested in exchanges that are dealing with cryptocurrency alone, right, then you might need to take a look at that and just, it's better be safe than sorry. So if I were you, I'll be taking my stuff out of them and putting them in cold wallets. So that's that today. So, last week, something happened in Ukraine. We just saw on the news that there's a missile that landed in Poland. Everybody was panicking. They even thought, third world war is starting again. Wow, here we go again. The world is going to flames and all that stuff. And, everybody was just panicking. But it happened when, 2019 world leaders are meeting, apart from Russia president, they were meeting in Indonesia. So they were talking about, economic policies, world issues, climate change, and all that stuff. And that's when this actually happened. So people were thinking, oh, maybe, NATO is going to trigger Article 5, which says an attack on one is an attack on all. So some investors actually wipe their portfolio. They start selling their stuff like, yeah, that's it. It's going to happen now. But American president took the time and was like, well, there's no need in rushing into this. Russia denied it, and, they investigated it. Investigation is still going on, but they think and they believe the missile was actually Russian, but it was fired by the Ukrainians. So maybe Ukrainian is trying to pull up one on us just because they want, the support of NATO and the world at their perilous time they're going through now. So America said, well, Ukraine, that's probably come from Ukraine, not Russia. So everybody should just go and sit down and calm themselves down. While Ukrainian president still insisting that actually came from Russia. So, but even Polish president says, well, he believes that came from Ukraine, not from Russia. So Ukraine and Ukrainian president need to be very careful at this point, because if they start losing faith and people start losing belief, interest in them, then Russia will take advantage on them, and that will be the end of the war, because people will say, well, Ukraine is trying to do one behind the world and just dragging the world into Third World War and all that stuff. So, but everybody was panicking, but I was telling a friend, like, well, we don't know what's going to happen yet. Just calm down. People were worried and people think that's going to be the end. But investors, with that, we still need, that's a warning to us though, because we don't know if it's going to be the first or the last one. So we need to be very careful with all this, geopolitical issue happening around us. Don't invest all your money at once. Don't put all your egg in one basket. That's what they say, right? Do not put all your egg in one basket. So have a reserve, start putting money aside. Where we go into a recession will be another good time for us to buy and to dollar cost average into. So that's that. So now G20, Biden met Z, and they discussed like, well, we don't want any there's going to be a healthy competition between the two countries, but the issue of nuclear weapons should be out of the case. So that means indirectly the issue of Taiwan and China is probably off the table for now, because with a good gesture they spoke and they exchanged. They had like 3 hours to themselves. They actually negotiated some actual deals, and they actually spoke about some contending issue between them. And with the look of things, I think Taiwan crisis is not going to be going ahead for now, but not in the nearest future. But for the moment, for now, I don't think China will be going ahead with that invasion. So maybe we are safe on that side for now. But if it does go ahead, that will be bigger than Ukraine and Russia. So we still need to be very careful with the geopolitical issue going around us, because as investors, there's no way we can remove politics and world crises and world issues out of this scenario. We invest, according to what's happening around the world. If you just say, well, there's not going to be crisis, or there's not going to be inflation next year, and you invested all your money, you're going to bite your finger when the inflation actually comes, or when the recession actually comes. So we need to follow the geopolitical issues and the global news, global economy, global crisis, to know when to invest, how to invest, and where to invest. That's how I invest. That's how I invest. I'm a different investor. I invest based on what I see, what I think, and what I believe is going to happen. So that's how I invest. And that's my 3 policies of investment. So at this point now, let's go back to FTX again, because this is only happening now because the sponsors now, FTX was actually sponsoring Mercedes-Benz F1. If you watch Formula One, I'm a Formula One fan as well. So I have my own team I support. I'm not going to say it on the TV. So I have my team as well. So FTX was actually sponsoring some companies, and they made some investments and all that stuff. So they're sponsoring Formula One, Mercedes-Benz, which has taken them out of their if you look at Formula One car, Mercedes Formula One car, and FTX sticker is no longer in there anymore. So they've taken it out. So this guy was just doing some sponsors and all that stuff. He was sponsoring Miami Heat, NBA. He was sponsoring Major League Baseball and all that stuff. But most of them now, they are in trouble, because they're going to get dragged to court, and they're going to be questioned, I think, and I believe. And they're going to probably, because the liquidation process is going to be like, okay, who are these who are your sponsors, who are you sponsoring, this and that, how much you sponsored, how much you paid into this company, how much and this and that. So if this guy has got no money to give to his creditors, then they might look into these big companies and get money from them and pay all his creditors. So that might happen in the near future, but nobody knows for now. But I think what we need to do is just like be very careful out there. I told you last week when I did my last video, I said FTX is not going to be the last, and it's not going to be the first one, and it's not going to be the last one. Genesis is in crisis. Crypto.com, there's something dragging. There's something happening to Crypto.com. Nobody knows yet, but these guys are running out of liquidity, and that is what's exposing them at this point. Well, that's it for today, guys. Let's just be very careful. Next week might be a good rally week. Nobody knows, but hopefully no geopolitical issue again pops up again. And I will see you on the next one. Please subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.